Morbid Facts, Part 220. While filming the first X-Men movie, Hugh Jackman accidentally stabbed the Mystique stunt woman in the arm with his claws. Jackman says the wound was pretty significant, with blood immediately pouring out. But to everyone's surprise, the stunt woman looked at the gaping hole in her arm and yelled, "Yes, I've been stabbed by Wolverine." The first recorded autopsy was performed on Julius Caesar in 44 BC to determine which of the 23 stab wounds had killed him. It was found to be a chest wound that severed his aorta. In 1908, the New York Times reported a story about a dog that would constantly push kids into the Seine River in order to earn treats for saving them. In 1986, nurse Sandra Clark had to leave an elderly patient who asked her to stay. When she returned, the patient had died alone and Sandra was devastated. So in 2001, she helped start a program called No One Dies Alone, where volunteers sit with terminal patients who have no one else to provide them with comfort in their final moments. Morbid Facts, Part 222. When Brian Peck was on trial for sexually abusing Drake Bell in 2003, there were 41 letters written to the judge by friends, family, and colleagues who were defending Peck. Some claim that Peck must have been facing major temptation or had been pressured and pushed beyond belief to have done any of the abuse. Drake and Josh director Rich Carell and stage manager Beth Carell both allegedly wrote letters in Peck's defense, with Rich Carell saying it would be his pleasure to work with Peck again. Peck pleaded no contest to 2 charges of child sex abuse and was ordered to register as a sex offender after serving 16 months in prison. But astonishingly, after his release, Peck was almost immediately hired to work on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody thanks to a legal loophole, which allowed him to work on children's productions as long as he wasn't working directly with the kids. After being involved with production for almost an entire year, Peck was eventually fired when Disney executives learned of his tainted past. Morbid Facts, Part 504. According to his memoir, when Vice President J.D. Vance was 12 years old, his drug-addicted mother was once driving erratically and threatened to crash her car to kill them both. J.D. had no choice but to jump out of the speeding vehicle and run to a nearby house for help. He now refers to this event as a turning point in his life, since it prompted him to move in with his non-abusive grandmother and work towards a more stable life. In the year 2000, Mexican woman Ines Ramirez performed an hour-long C-section on herself after suffering 12 hours of constant pain. Using a large kitchen knife, she made a 7-inch vertical incision and pulled the baby boy out of her own uterus. Despite no prior medical training, both Ramirez and her baby miraculously survived. In 1996, 16-year-old Travis Lewis pleaded guilty to the murder of Sally McKay. While seeking closure, Sally's daughter Martha visited Travis several times in prison and eventually forgave him for killing her mother. When he was released on parole 23 years later, Martha allowed Travis to move in with her and gave him a job as groundskeeper of her estate. But when she realized the man was frequently stealing from her, Martha fired Travis and kicked him out. Soon afterwards, Travis broke into Martha's home and stabbed her to death before drowning in a nearby lake while running from police.